Hey everyone, Karen from Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing awesome today. So, we are taking a look back at the month of September. I'm kind of into doing that right now. It doesn't mean I'll do it all the time, but I really want to take a look back at the things that happened, just the highlights, obviously mostly political or just stuff that was mostly disruptive, and take a look at what happened, why it happened from an astrological perspective, or at least look at it from an astrological perspective. The natal charts that we're looking at in the reports that I run are the world natal chart, the USA's natal chart, Trump's natal chart, Heritage Foundation, our community's natal chart. I said the USA, right? Let's see if there's any others in there. So, and then pendulum messages. Let's just see how that all played out. Okay. Now, we were clearly warned. We were given a warning that September was going to be a little whoa. And I would agree that that is actually what happened. Now, you might remember if you listen to Charlie Kirk's Spirit, Higher Self, Give Us Pendulum Messages. He literally spelled out on the pendulum, October will be rough, November will be more peaceful, basically, something like that. Oh my God. I was wondering, there's a turkey. Hang on a second. I got to go see what's going on. Okay, so that was, well, I'm looking out my side window, and I live on the second floor of a building, and I see a turkey's head outside my window. Now we have a little roof out there, and I'm like, why? I was really trying, and he was out there for a little while, but then he was out of my view. I was trying to get him on camera for you. He was just like looking in my window. I'm like, so you can tell I was looking out. I was talking to my neighbor down there. Now I was looking outside because my glasses are all dark. Anyways, he flew off the roof over my neighbor's head. I just love the turkeys so much. Okay, so let's see. Where were we? I don't even know. Did we even start this? I don't think so. I don't even know what I was saying. Okay, September. Let's look back. September 2025. September was a month of shock and reckoning. That's what Mabel has to say about that. Shock and reckoning. 2 eclipses framed events that shook the US and rippled worldwide. From Charlie Kirk's assassination to Trump summoning generals, the astrology was exact. Pisces and Virgo eclipses formed hidden tensions into the open. Forced hidden tensions into the open, while Pluto in Aquarius kept exposing how power is exercised through messaging, institutions, and fear. So it's all coming to the surface. I like to do this because it helps me make sense of things. We are going to look at a couple of the situations. I'm going to tell you what those are right up front. And then we're going to look at what happened, the astrology of those, the natal charts, the spirit guides, what they said in a couple sessions that we had about the topics, and the spiritual takeaway, just something to consider. Okay. Now, what I might do, because we've started the 30-day challenge, I did my journaling today. I'm going to try to get past day 1, unlike last month. 2 months ago, 3 months ago when we did this, my first day of journaling, and actually I had started like the week before we started the 30-day, and I had asked for clarity on the best way for me to be eating, and I wanted to feel good. I wanted to resolve some issues I was having, and within like 2 or 3 days, I was like going keto, carnivore. I've never even considered doing those types of diets, and I've been doing it ever since. And I wrote a letter to my guides asking for the best diet for me. And I mean, and then all of a sudden the awareness of all of those diets started coming into my awareness. The awareness of it started coming to my awareness. And then I also had no problem switching over at all, which is very unusual. Usually I have to psych myself up. And I've been doing it ever since. So amazing. So because I was frantically trying to reorganize my entire life around eating this way and learning as much as I can, I didn't journal anymore because I had that was like a huge project. So I didn't need any more help. Besides that, I didn't need any more projects. So, but this time around, I'm excited. I'm going to do as many of the 30 days as I can. So, okay. But what I was saying about that, I digress. Surprise, surprise, is I'm going to write down some of the key takeaways for myself. And I'll tell you when I'm writing stuff down so that I can add them to my 30-day journal and focus on them. Like, tomorrow morning, if I don't have anything in the top of my head, because sometimes I don't when I get up, especially now that I'm not watching. If you saw my Coffee with Karen this morning, I am also doing a 30-day TV and media meaning YouTube cleanse, because you guys know it catches up to me every once in a while. So if that's the case, I may not have that much in my head, which is good. So this way I'll have some real spiritual stuff that I can write down and talk to my guides about. So let's see. The pendulum messages for September were just breathe. Trump is losing his mind, losing their grip, keep hold of the light. Those were the most significant for this particular report. The four, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 areas we're going to look at that happened, the most significant. I'm sure there was many other things. Positive as well. Let's not forget that. But these are the things that really shook people and probably gave more spiritual awareness than, unfortunately, the positive things do. Another thing I talked about in Coffee with Karen this morning, if you missed it and you want to catch it, I'll post it right here at the end of this video, is that in the unicorn book that we're reading in Spirit Club, in Spirit Circle, there was a line in there that said how darkness favors the light, or, oh geez, I don't have it with me, but darkness, how the light is supported by darkness, basically. So we grow, we all know it, we all grow more when things are hard. Cut, clear, cancel. Wish it didn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that way, but that tends to be. So, okay, the areas are Charlie Kirk's assassination, Jimmy Kimmel Live's suspension, ICE raids and mass arrests, U.S. naval strikes on Venezuela, Trump summons generals, government shutdown, threats, which now we know the government is shut down. Again, there were things that happened, a lot of things that happened, but we could be here all day, I guess. So let's look at okay, so in each area, we're going to look at what happened, the astrology, natal chart, spirit guides, and spiritual takeaway. Charlie Kirk assassination. What happened? Charlie Kirk, central figure of Turning Point USA, was assassinated mid-September. His death shook youth-driven conservatism, triggered political blame games, and left his movement destabilized at a symbolic moment. The astrology around here, which I find quite interesting, the Pisces lunar eclipse was on September 7th. So this happened on September 10th, so 3 days later. Removes figures tied to imbalance. Write that one down. Removes figures tied to imbalance. I will send this report out on email, but I'm probably going to send it out with the October report because I have an energy report for October for tomorrow, the next day. So I'm going to send them together. So I've already sent 2 emails this week. I don't want to bombard you guys too much. So if you're looking for email, you can sign up. The QR code's right there, or the link is in the description or pinned to the first comment. The Pisces lunar eclipse, September 7th, removes figures tied to imbalance. That's all I have to say about that. It's interesting. Kirk's death aligned with this sacrifice energy. The Virgo solar eclipse, September 21st, his memorial, spotlighted systems, messaging, and leadership transitions. You know, I mean, I know the assassination was very traumatic for a lot of people, but the memorial was way more traumatic for me. Not that I'm poo-pooing his, I mean, I'm not saying, I just didn't know Charlie, and yes, it's awful, but unfortunately, we're getting immune to these things. I mean, I was horrified when what happened to the senators right outside their homes, but you know, not a huge rally for them, but the rally was hard for me, I'd have to say. I didn't even watch it, but I saw a few clips, and that was enough. So the natal chart, so the challenge with Kirk's natal chart and Turning Point's natal chart is we don't have the time. So just full disclosure on that. So it's hard to know. We don't have the time of his birth or the exact time that Turning Point. We have the day and the location, but not the exact times. So Kirk's Libra Sun Moon sat directly in the eclipse path, a fated visible removal of his role as the public face of youth conservatism. TPUSA's Gemini Sun was stressed by the Virgo Pisces eclipse, while Heritage Foundation's Aquarius placement was pressured by Pluto, both showing adapt or fracture tensions. Spirit guide. So we did a session. You guys had questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and the SGs, our lead team collective, answered your questions. So the spirit guides affirmed that, and this is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, affirmed that foreign influence tied to U.S. politics since the Vietnam and JFK era shaped this moment, making Kirk's death part of a much older shadow cycle. So we always have to remember there is so much more going on in this world and in the universe than we could possibly comprehend in our human form. So that's one of the reasons I decided I needed another break. It keeps catching up on me quickly nowadays. Is because I realized, I literally was thinking last night, I give in. I give in. I got to just let the universe do its thing. It's not that doesn't mean I'm not going to show up. It doesn't mean I'm not going to write letters, but I can't try to understand all of what's going on. I have been trying to do that. I can't do it. It's not worth it. It's not my life. All the stuff that's going on, I can't. I really was trying to make sense out of it, and it is so complicated to my little pea brain. So I just can't. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing reports or asking Mabel like, hey, what's going on? But I don't have to. She'll pull stuff that's factual. I don't have to get caught up. Just like Ground News. Like if you don't use Ground News, that's a really good resource. We are affiliates to Ground News. They're not sponsoring this video, but if you're looking for, I haven't mentioned Ground News for a while, but I'll post it right there in the corner, and we have a link below. The reason it's nice that we became affiliates is because if people want to sign up, you get 40% off, which is amazing that they do that. So that's why we signed up for it, because I was like, well, I'm using it. So you look on Ground News, the nice thing about it is you can look for high factuality articles, center-based, okay? So then you can get rid of all the noise and just go right to the facts, which is amazing. Probably better than what AI can do. I'm not 100% sure about that, so just keep that in mind. Spirit guides. Okay, let's see. They said most U.S. politicians, both parties, serve foreign power interests. And at that time, I was afraid to say Israel, but that's, I kept saying said country. And then people were like, what country are you talking about? Yeah, Israel. So they had said U.S. politicians, both parties, serve foreign power interests. Biden, we asked about Biden and we asked about Harris. Biden was a yes, that's true, but not by choice. And Harris was a no, that she didn't fall into that. His assassination weakened the youth pipeline and forced heritage to confront its own shadow. That was really good, you guys. They also noted Russia's leadership is controlled by the same foreign power, Israel, okay? Giving this event karmic weight across borders. The spiritual takeaway, it's just a suggestion, all right? There's probably many spiritual takeaways. I like the use of this shadow, understanding that there was this shadow stuff going on. And it's interesting, I hadn't thought about the assassination weakening the Heritage Foundation. So that's interesting. Because I think some people suspect that maybe the administration had something to do with it, but that makes me wonder that would not be the case. It would be someone who wants to weaken them and not necessarily on the left. Could be, but not necessarily on the left. So I don't know. So the spiritual takeaway, Kirk's assassination exposed the cost of rhetoric and reminded young people worldwide that words and leadership carry consequences. They might have believed Trump's rhetoric, like coming out before they even knew who did it. And even if they still, it's hard to know if they still know who did it. There's a lot of speculation online. Again, I'm at a point where I'm like, I can't control that. I'm not going to sit and expose myself to the constant conspiracy theories about it, which I had been doing because it was interesting. Big soap opera. The whole thing is online is one big soap opera. I can't even believe like regular daytime soap operas even exist anymore because you don't need them when you can just go online, God. I don't want to be the lead. My life story over the next 20 years is not going to be a drama. It's not going to be full of drama. I don't want to be the lead in a Dramamine. What is it? Dramamine? Dramedy. Dramamine. Oh, that's funny. The guides urged the community to pause. Okay, so they did say this. There's the pendulum message. The guides urged the community to pause heavy 3D activism until Trump leaves. Actually, it was part of the dowsing rod session. Sit on that for a minute. I had forgotten about that. The guides urged the community to pause heavy 3D activism until Trump leaves. Mirroring the eclipse lesson to pause, purge, and clarify before rebuilding. I don't know. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel Live suspension. What happened? ABC Disney suspended Kimmel after remarks tying Trump's response to Kirk's death to immaturity. He was speaking the truth because it was more than immature. It was 1,000%. It was 1,500%. It was 1,500% irresponsible. That's all I have to say. The FCC pressure and political backlash followed. Hashtag Bring Back Kimmel trended. Disney Plus and Hulu cancellations spiked. Disney reversed suspension by September 22nd and 23rd. Yay to the people. Okay, I did get my mug. You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay. Astrology. Virgo solar eclipse. Review of systems and speech. Pluto in Aquarius gave us the opportunity for power struggles over collective conversation. Natal chart, this is the U.S. natal chart, not Jimmy Kimmel's natal chart. Saturn pressing the U.S. moon. The people feel silenced, unsure who to trust. Isn't that interesting? So Saturn pressing the U.S. moon gave us the opportunity to feel what it feels like for the people to feel silenced and how we're going to respond. I think that had to happen now that I'm looking back on this. Like, don't you think that had to happen for the Trump administration to be like, maybe this isn't going to be as easy after all. Maybe we have to call all the generals in to make sure that our plan could go forward. So, because that certainly came later, didn't it? Who knows how long they were planning that, if they were even planning it at this time. That's interesting. Spirit guides, because we did a session about Jimmy Kimmel, so that was an SG session. I will post both the Kirk sessions that we did and the Jimmy Kimmel one here, okay, at the end of this video. Oh, I said I'll do coffee with Karen, the 2 Kirk sessions, and Jimmy over in this corner. So Spirit Guides confirms suspension was politically driven, not a genuine concern for humanity. Okay, that was obvious. Affirmed it was coercion and First Amendment violation, meant to test public response. Meant to test public response. Well, they got the answer. Thank goodness. And thank goodness that ABC and Disney caved to it. That's very helpful. It's very helpful. The spiritual takeaway, the astrology showed censorship isn't just political. The astrology showed censorship isn't just political, it's cultural. Spirit emphasized Kimmel stood as an example of not capitulating, showing the power of integrity. The invitation is to strengthen our individual voices, using that as an example, and remember laughter as medicine. The third area for the month we're going to look at is the ICE raids and mass arrests. What happened? High-profile ICE raids in Georgia, Hyundai plant, and Chicago, Operation Midway Blitz. And was the thing in Georgia, was that the shooting? Or was there something, was that somewhere else? Because she didn't pull that into my report. Astrology for the ICE raids and mass arrests. Astrology was Virgo eclipses highlight labor, purity, and justice issues. I don't know what purity means here. I don't really like that word. Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Exposed broken systems. Wonderful. Maybe that was the shooting or had something to do with the shooting around that. I'm not sure. The natal charts, the U.S., Neptune on Mars. So the U.S. natal chart in this area. Neptune on Mars equaled confusion, misuse of force. Heritage chart under Aquarius stress, cultural war, politics, inflaming division. The spiritual takeaway here, raids reflected how institutions flex power in ways that fracture trust. Spirit calls us to see through and anchor compassion for displaced families. That's beautiful. So if you wanted to, let's just say collectively right now, let's just send love and light and ask Archangel Michael to protect, as it is in their best interest, all the families who have been displaced or some of the family members who have been displaced. Please protect them, help them gain the experience that their soul or their higher self was hoping to gain in this through this experience, and just help them reconnect as quickly as is again in their best interest and for, for just everybody involved. All right. So whatever you want to say, let's just send them some love and compassion right now. That's got to be really hard. I mean, I heard that, there's, I don't know if this is true, that 1,200 people, I heard this, again, I haven't verified it on ground news or anything. That's what we often do. If we hear something, I'll verify whether it's on, if it's true on ground news. So like, what are people reporting about it? So the 1,200 people had gone missing from Alcatraz. And apparently they just shipped them to another country or other countries, and their families have no idea where they are. I mean, can you imagine? That can happen to any of us. Clear cancel. Can you imagine? You just get shipped off to another country. You're like, now what do I do? They don't have a passport. I mean, what? So much, much compassion sent to that situation. The next area we're looking at for the month is U.S. naval strikes on Venezuela. This is a little shorter section because I didn't do a session on this one, so we don't have as much, we don't have the SG section. So what happened? U.S. forces destroyed Venezuelan vessels in the Caribbean. The astrology, Pisces eclipse, hidden conflicts are exposed. So there's some kind of conflict here that we didn't know was going on. And now it's been exposed. So has it been exposed the way that we, that's going to make positive changes? I'm not sure. So Virgo eclipse, resource struggle. Okay, so it has something to do with resources, even though I'm pretty sure the administration came out and said that it was drug cartel or something. Right. I don't know. Do they deserve the mug? You can't do that. Big boobs. Spiritual takeaway. Showed how domestic instability spills outward. Spirit asks, do we lead through domination or cooperation? Oh, good thing to ask about in your own life. Do you lead? Do you raise your kids, your grandkids with domination or cooperation? Sometimes a little of both. It's a natural human tendency it depends on personality type. So something to look at. I think that's a really good thing. Trump summons generals. What happened? We all know what happened there, most of us. Oh, there's a U-Haul. What's going on? Somebody's moving? It's either a U-Haul, an ambulance shows up here every once in a while. Every once in a while, I see a cop going by. I'm like, what? Even though we moved in here when I was 31. And now I'm 56. So we've been living here for a long time. It tends to be because the condos they're small. I mean, condos don't really typically, we have a few families that live here, but typically not a lot of kids. So you end up getting a lot of retired people. So even in our 30s, like everybody here was, it was like we're living in a retirement center. So, you end up getting ambulances around every once in a while. So it's still the same, I'm still living here and it's still, there's older people. So it's lovely. We didn't have any kids ourselves, so fine by us. Trump summons the generals. What happened? Trump summoned 800 generals to Quantico, demanding discipline and loyalty. Event framed as unprecedented and performative. The astrology, Libra Sun, accountability questions. So the Libra Sun gave that opportunity to question accountability. Mars in Scorpio, hidden power plays. So there's hidden power plays going on. Yeah, not surprising. Trump's natal, Neptune stress. So he's got stress in Neptune. Paranoia and blurred judgment. So he's, I think that's probably got to be pretty hard when you're in a such a big position, and your natal chart is like, giving you opportunities, and then you don't take those opportunities in a positive way or in a higher vibration way, which we're all trying to do, is take the opportunities that are presented to us in a more higher vibrational outlook. And I can imagine if you're not doing that and you're in this very public position, so he's got paranoia and blurred judgment. So, Spirit guides here, we did a session. Now I don't have room all around here to put this session, but if you go to Ask the Spirit Guides playlist, in fact, maybe I'll just do that. I'll put the Ask the Spirit Guides playlist here instead of Coffee with Karen. You could just type in Coffee with Karen in our channel too, or just go to today's video. So I will put the Ask the Spirit Guides playlist. You'll find all of those, like the Summon the Generals, the Charlie Kirk one, Jesus. You'll find so many. JFK, Princess Diana. There's just so many. God. Spirit guides in this area, because again, we asked them these questions, confirmed the meeting was political theater designed for propaganda optics. Said most generals would not comply, remaining loyal to the Constitution. Confirmed firings and intimidation tactics are attempts to instill fear, but will not succeed long term. Spiritual takeaway, this meeting forced clarity. True loyalty belongs to the Constitution. The meeting forced clarity. That true loyalty belongs to the Constitution, not one man. Spirit invites discernment and courage to see through staged optics. Good. Government shutdown, this is the last one, and then we'll look at the silver lining and healing catalysts and some feelings map, and then we have a monthly affirmation when we look back. So government shutdown threats, even though that's happened now, Trump ordered agencies to prep mass firings and delayed jobs data as budget fight escalated. Still is, obviously. Astrology, Virgo, eclipse, stress test for systems. So Virgo eclipse is giving that opportunity to test the systems. The natal chart for the US, Saturn moon activation, people feel instability. Heritage chart under Pluto, authoritarian tactics, pushing the limits. I've said this before, the last time we closed down, it was during Trump's term. We closed for 3 or 4 months. I don't know what got us out of that. And I'm well aware of how people react to it because my husband works for the federal government. So I'll be getting a report from him. He'll be home very shortly to see how people are feeling this first day. All I know is one of his coworkers came up to him the other day and said, what's this all about? And he has like $2,000 in savings. That's it. So they will get paid eventually. They just won't get paid. The U-Haul is looking for, he's lost. Sorry if you can hear that. Spiritual takeaway here, shutdown threats revealed fear as leverage. Guides message, bringing in the pendulum message, just breathe, pointed directly here, showing steadiness is the antidote. Silver lining and healing catalysts. First, we saw protests against censorship, bring back Kimmel. Consumer backlash, Disney cancellation. Visible resistance to authoritarian optics, generals, public pushback. So really good. That's really good, right? Sometimes if we don't take a look back, we don't realize the progress we've made. Astrology and spiritual layer, eclipse opened resilience themes, collective power shifting from fear to steadiness. I'm getting way more steady. I don't know about you guys, but I have my moments. But I'm staying up here higher and higher and higher. Spirit emphasized each disruption was also an invitation for communities to self-organize, practice discernment, and hold compassion. Healing catalyst, September's upheavals reminded us that collective truth-telling and spiritual grounding remain stronger than top-down fear tactics. Yay! Closing insight. September's eclipses tear away illusions. The cost of rhetoric, the fragility of institutions, and the volatility of authoritarian power were made plain. Yet the pendulum and stars agreed. Breathe, laugh, and keep hold of the light. See, isn't that awesome? Monthly affirmation, looking back, I breathe deeply, stay steady, and hold the light. Systems may shake, but resilience rises. We totally proved how resilience rises. Even those who were devastated by Kirk's, obviously all those people showing up. And you know what? I did watch a few people who collected comments after that. And people who have been supporting Trump, supporting Kirk were like, from that memorial, we're like, what's going on? Like, this isn't aligning with what I thought was going on. So that was a huge awakening event. I don't know to how many, but I feel very, very optimistic about that. So, okay, well, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.